Episode 2: The Difference Between Privacy and Enforced Silence. Every family has secrets, some just call it loyalty. Before we go any deeper into family secrets, I need to make one distinction very clear, because without it, everything else in this series gets misunderstood. Privacy and silence are not the same word. They are not the same experience. And confusing the two has been the source of an ocean of unnecessary pain. The two is how the cycle stays alive. In our last conversation, we named the system. Today, we look at the other word families use to make that silence sound like a choice. They call it privacy. But for many of us, it was never a choice. It was a mandate. In many of our homes, don't tell wasn't just a request. It was the first law of the house. It's the shh at the table when a certain name comes up. It's the look your parent gave you when you asked a question you weren't supposed to. We were taught that don't tell was a synonym for being a good child. We were told that keeping the secret was the only way to keep the family safe. But what they didn't tell us was that the secret was only protecting the people at the top, not the children at the bottom. Take a second and think about the first time you realized you were holding a piece of information that felt too heavy for your age. Did you keep it because you wanted to, or because you had to? Families confuse privacy and enforced silence because the language sounds almost identical. You've heard the phrases, maybe you've even said them. We're a private family. Some things stay between us. Not everyone needs to know our business. Privacy is real. Privacy is important. Privacy is something every person deserves. But let's look at the difference. Privacy belongs to the person holding it. It has agency at its center. It says, this is mine. I decide what I share, when I share it, and with whom. Privacy protects your dignity. It is chosen, not imposed. Enforced silence does not belong to the person holding it. It was handed to you. It was placed on you or inherited before you were old enough to understand what you were receiving. It says, this is not yours to speak, ever. There's no consent here. When silence is enforced, you learn to edit yourself before you even speak. You scan the room for the rule before you check in with your own truth. You learn to treat honesty as a risk before you are old enough to know it should be a right. Privacy is not the enemy. Control is. You can respect privacy without surrendering your right to understanding. If one person controls the silence while others absorb the cost, that's not privacy, that's control. If you believe your family's silence is just privacy, then speaking your truth feels like a violation. But you aren't violating a boundary, you are escaping a cage. Privacy protects you. Silence protects them. And understanding that changes everything. Now that we've named the mandate, we have to look at why it's so hard to break. In the next conversation, we go one layer deeper into the moment when silence stops being a rule and becomes something families protect like it's sacred. Here's your affirmation. Say it aloud if you can, quietly if you must. Let it land somewhere in you. My story belongs to me. I decide what I share, when I share it, and with whom. Choosing to speak is my right. Choosing silence is also my right. The difference is that now it's my choice, not someone else's rule. Stay with me. The conversation continues.